So today, if you read the title of the video, today I am going to be going over the college football playoffs and giving you guys my predictions of each game. This will not be each game in the first round. This is actually going to be my full-fledged predictions of who is going to win these games, who's going to go all the way to the national title, and all that, and who's actually going to win the national title. So that's going to be my full. But also, plus, I'm going to talk about some other stuff. A couple bowl games, which is LSU's bowl game, and another bowl game that I want to talk about that will actually lead into some other stuff that I will talk about. That really involve, or I should say also revolves around the college football playoffs. Because, of course, it was just a crazy scenario, crazy stuff that happened this past weekend when the college football playoffs were announced and all that. And, yeah. Definitely going to be some interesting stuff to talk about and give you guys my opinions and other stuff as well. So before we get on into the video, which might be a bit of a long video because I might be a good bit before I finally talk about my predictions and all that. Before we get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel or haven't yet here on the BrewCrew channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. Do football content like this. Kind of my first football video that's not just LSU or Saints. I do football content with them or other football, whatever. I do wrestling content as well if you guys are fans with that. So yes. So yeah, that's all I do. Again, hope you guys are subscribed and have that notification bell on. And with all that out of the way, I did a lot of preparing before this video, so if you kind of hear me like breathing a lot, trying to catch my breath or whatever, it's mostly because like I was preparing for what I was going to say in this video. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Let me turn this light up just a little bit so you can see me maybe a little bit better. I know I have my room light on, but anyway, just going to get right into it. Right into it with first LSU's bowl game. If you guys know, LSU's bowl game, we're going to be going back to the Texas Bowl. Yay. I mean, it is what it is, because there's barely any more bowls, because half of the bowls are in the playoffs. Anyway, the Texas Bowl, we will be going back there. We will be facing off against Houston. Houston, who is actually 9-3, but also is ranked in the top 25 at number 21, not number 1. But a 9-3 record, but I did actually see I saw the percentage, the win percentage, or like who is favored. I actually saw that we are favored in this game, shockingly enough, probably because like SEC against a Big 12 team like Houston, but I definitely going to be still nervous about it either way, so we'll just have to see. Also real quick, so about this game, I did see, so I don't know what his status would have been if he did end up playing in the game. Garrett Nussmeier will, of course, sit out, prepare himself for the draft. And same thing for Mansour Delane, who is a top man right now, I believe, for the Jim Thorpe Award, who's been one of the best defensive players in the nation. So he will be sitting out because he will be also looking forward to the draft. Don't know about other players like A.J. Hulsey or even maybe Harold Perkins on the defensive side. I do know that Whit Weeks will actually sit out for this game. So we do not know, because he is a junior, we don't know if he'll actually go on to the draft as a junior or if he will come back next year. But he will sit out for this game, which is going to be an interesting thing to see. It's going to be a late night game. It's like 8:15 is when this game is supposed to start. So it's going to be a long game, long late night game. So definitely looking forward to it. But yes, that will be the final game of the season for LSU. Of course, I'll talk more about the game whenever it gets close to the game, and I hopefully try to do some sort of preview. I know that's during the week of Christmas, and I don't know yet about Christmas time or whatever. Maybe I'll mention something, but I don't know just yet, but now that I'm thinking about it. But I'll let you guys know either way. But yeah, so there's that game. Other bowl game I kind of wanted to talk about. I wanted to kind of talk about more bowl games, but with how much I was going to talk in this video before the playoffs, before my playoff predictions, this video is just going to be long. So this probably will be a long video, so I hope you guys are watching through and make it all the way through and all that. So, but the other bowl is the Pop-Tarts Bowl that will feature BYU and Georgia Tech, which will be an interesting matchup between those two teams. But the reason why I'm talking about that bowl is because it actually goes into the first thing I want to talk about before the playoffs. It was the first one of the big things that happened during the playoffs. It's because Notre Dame was supposed to be in this game, but as of course if you guys know, On the day that the playoffs were announced, they declined their invitation a couple hours later to be a part of this bowl game because of them being snubbed out of the college football playoffs. Now, this is the first thing I want to talk about. Of course, didn't really want to talk about the bowl game, but this is my first thing I want to talk about before the playoffs. And I kind of am mixed up one side or the other with this situation. At one hand, I do agree with what they're doing. Yes, they got snubbed out of the playoffs because they were above Miami for so long in the rankings and even in the playoff show, and even though in the playoffs and all that before this final playoff bracket, and Miami was never in. Miami was always out. But Miami had the tiebreaker over them too, because Miami had the win over them at the beginning of the season. But somehow Miami, not even playing in the ACC championship, because remember, a 7-5 now 8-5 Duke team is now the ACC champions, which I want to go ahead and say there's no way that they were going to put in a 5-loss Duke team into the playoffs. Just saying that right now. Sorry for all those people. And I'll talk about that more with the group of 5 stuff. So Miami gets in, which is shocking, because I honestly do want to say that Notre Dame should have gone in over Miami because they were higher up and the committee always had them over Miami. Well, now I don't know, they were like, you know what? No, Miami's going to go in and Notre Dame, you're going to stay out. But I'll get to a reason why, potentially a reason to where maybe both could have been in, even with Miami still not playing in a conference championship. That will be something I'll talk about in a little bit later. But on the other hand, I find it sort of embarrassing and sort of questionable of why. Just because y'all are upset that y'all didn't make the playoffs, what's the best thing you think about? Let's just not play in a bowl game. And the reason why I kind of say this is sort of disappointing or embarrassing was the other word that I actually say, is because I mostly don't like when people actually take their side. You know, being like, I agree with what they did, they got snubbed and all that, they should be in. Well, I've seen some other people kind of say like, this is embarrassing, this is disappointing, the words that I said as well, you know, kind of saying, or maybe saying what they said or whatever, you know, it's the same thing anyway. And they were mostly saying, and it kind of made me think the same way, like thinking about it with the player's perspective, or the player's standpoint. And I'm saying the same thing. Think about it as with the players, especially the seniors, that now don't have to play a bowl game, which would have been their last game, that now their last game of the regular season, the game against Stanford, was their last game. So yeah, so if you you put yourself in the player's perspective that your AD, the team, and even coaches, I believe, are upset that they didn't make the playoffs, that they got snubbed out of the playoffs. Even the AD earlier today, as me recording this, saying that they went on one of the biggest and best 10-win streaks in the history of college football. You only won against 2 top 25 teams. The other 2 you played against, you lost to at the beginning of the year. And your final game of the year was against a Stanford team that was not that good in the ACC. So, yeah, great generational run you guys had there. So that was another reason, you know, maybe next time think about actually going to join a conference, but no, you guys are idiots because you don't want to join a conference. So, what can I say there? But, again, you have yourself in the player's perspective, or standpoint, whatever you want to say, as a senior, that you see that you guys snubbed out of the playoffs and be like, man, okay, well, probably we'll still have our last game with a bowl game. And even though it's not a playoff, well, the other players who are coming up or who are coming to be seniors or whatever, next in line for next year, coming back next year, whatever, try to bring home a championship. But no, you then hear from your school, your AD, your coaches saying like, yeah, we're not playing in a bowl game. Because we got snubbed out and we ended up deciding to decline the invitation to the bowl. And it's like, oh. Because I said this, like, some of these seniors, probably, I'm not actually thinking that, like, all the seniors, but, like, however many seniors you have, probably half of those seniors are not going to go to the NFL. Maybe try out or whatever, maybe actually get drafted, but some of those seniors like will probably not even go to the NFL or even try for the NFL. So now they have to have this mindset or this thought now in their head to be like, oh yeah, the final year of my college career, my final game, we didn't play a bowl game. Our final game was actually the final game of the season against Stanford. Well, the reason why was because our team was very upset that we didn't make the playoffs and declined our invitation to a bowl game. So yeah, that is definitely embarrassing and sort of disappointing. And of course, there is a good bit of fans calling them quitters, literally, because they just didn't get their way. And it's back and forth with it. And I just want to kind of go to my next thing about it, about that I want to talk about real quick. And it's, of course, about the group of 5 teams. I should say not power. The group of 5 teams with James Madison and Tulane. I want to say this because I hate this so much, and I really don't care that a group of 5 team is in the playoffs. Because do we not know the rules of these playoffs that were implemented last year? The 5 best conference champions. One of those was going to be a group of 5 conference team to make the playoffs. And I'm telling you this right now, because if Virginia won, they would have made the playoffs because they're ranked. But the reason why Duke didn't is 2 reasons. A, they're not ranked, and B, they have 5 losses. Okay? They're not going to put a 5-loss unranked team in the playoffs. So, who is the next conference champions who are ranked? James Madison and Tulane. I'm saying this right now. If Virginia won and made the playoffs, because they were ranked in that conference championship, they would have made the playoffs. And possibly because James Madison has the better record at 12, 11, and 1 or whatever, and they were higher ranked than Tulane, they would have made it in. So either way, they would still be a group of 5 team. And you know what would happen? People would still be complaining that a group of 5 team like JMU, James Madison, is playing in this college football playoffs. This is the same thing that has been talked about for many years, ever since with the BCS system, with the 4 teams, and now with the 12 teams. And I don't know who we would blame. Do we blame the committee for doing this, or do we blame the fans who keep freaking complaining every freaking year when a group of 5 team is performing great? I hate the question like, oh, who they beat. I don't know, the teams that they played against in their conference and actually had a good record and won their conference? Well, no, they didn't play any top 25 teams or any actual playoff contending teams. Why does that have to be the freaking resume? Then every freaking team that plays a top 25 team and wins, they have to make a playoff. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but like I've even heard people like whatever people say of like, oh, this is how I think they would do, how I think they should do it, how I think they should do this, they should do that. They ain't gonna do crap for what you want them to do. They're gonna do what they think would be happier or actually best for you to watch. But then if they do that, you guys are gonna get mad and have the same conversations we've been having for years. What do you want them to do? They're not gonna listen half the time because they don't. It was the same thing with the BCS. It was the same thing with the 4 team. And now it's been the same thing with the 12 team playoff. Losing my breath right now. And I want to say this one thing real quick before I move on to the one more thing and then move on to the predictions. I'm sorry that this video is long if you were just looking for my predictions. I just need to say my opinions about stuff before I talk about these playoffs. Before I talk about like my predictions for these playoffs. I've seen people say like, oh, well, the group of 5 should have their own championship or their own sort of tournament. What division is the group of 5 teams in? Division 1, which is what the Power 4 conferences are in. They're going to go after the Division 1 national championship. Unless these group of 5 conferences are not in another division, then fine, then probably yes, they can go fight for their own championship. But they're not. Because they're actual Division 1 schools that are going after a national championship. That's all. That's all I got to say about this one. But that's not the cherry on top of why of something that I want to get off my chest and want to honestly say. It's about one team. I'm going to say this right now. It's not because I'm an LSU fan. I do not think Alabama should be in these playoffs. I'm just going to have to pause there for a second. I do not think Alabama should be in these playoffs. I don't. And again, I'm not saying this because I'm an LSU fan and that I hate Alabama with every being of my body, that I hate Alabama with everything. I hate them. There is no way they should be in this playoffs. Because they're a 3-loss team, and they literally got blown out by Georgia in the conference championship. There's no way they should be in this. And what's even more salt in the wound, or whatever you want to say, that makes me so mad, even more, is that they're still at number 9 in the rankings. They were number 9 going into the conference title. And because of losing, maybe yes, they still could have made it. They still could have been in the playoffs. At least pulled them down to like number 11 or something. They're like, no, they're Alabama. No, they're Alabama. It's Alabama. It's Alabama everything. Even without Nick Saban. It's Alabama everything. They're number 9. What? They're number 9. Didn't even want to put them down just one to number 10 and then put Miami or Notre Dame at number 9. No, they wanted to keep them. And you know who they're playing against? Oklahoma. Who's Oklahoma? One of the teams that beat them. No, we wanted the rematch. You just wanted Alabama to be in because you still want them to win a championship, no matter what if they did. And I know there would probably be people being like, well, it's Alabama. They were going to make it either way. Of course, I heard people online be like, we told you, we said it, we knew. Be like, I don't care what you said, they should not be in. And it's going to be probably someone, I heard someone say like, oh, well, because they made the conference championship and they played in it, that's one of the reasons why they're still in it. Even though they lost by multiple touchdowns, 28-7. That makes me wonder, what was another team that made their conference championship but got blown out by multiple touchdowns, but they were ruled out because of that? BYU! Oh my goodness, yes, they made the Big 12 championship against Texas Tech, lost to them a second time. Maybe that was another reason why. But so you're telling me that BYU gets knocked out because they played in their conference title and lost by multiple scores, but Alabama plays in their conference championship, but then still stays in after being, not only stays in, stays at number 9 after losing 28-7 to Georgia. If you can see in my face, I am very angry right now with this. This reaction that you're seeing is the same reaction I sort of had when I saw these playoffs. When I saw these playoffs being made, and I saw Alabama pop on my screen at number 9, I freaked out. I totally freaked out. I need a breather for a second. It's just like, because then if Alabama was out, then that would have been a great opportunity to have both Miami and Notre Dame in. Even if Virginia won the conference title, Miami probably still would have found a way in if Alabama was out, and they lost. So there's those situations there as well. Either way, Alabama, in my opinion, should not be in. And if you guys do not agree with this opinion, or think I'm overreacting or whatever, I don't care. This is my opinion. If you don't like it, then don't like it, okay? I cannot like your opinion, and we can still be okay or whatever. Probably, hopefully, I don't know. But this is my opinion, and I want to say it. This is one of the things I wanted to say for this video. And again, I'm sorry that this video is going to be long, and I'm now just getting into my predictions that I'm going to do right now. I'm probably going to pause it real quick, and it's probably going to jump cut to me kind of calming down. So, I'll be back real quick. It'll be quick for y'all. It'll be probably a minute or two for me. So, again, real quick before I do that, Let me know in the comments y'all's thoughts of everything that I just said in the comments down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts. All right, welcome back, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I said welcome back. Probably saying welcome back to myself because I just took a pause. Anyway, so probably the thing that y'all wanted to actually see me do because it's the title of the video. But I will probably say in the description, if you read the description, I will say I do talk about other stuff. I did say that in the beginning of the video. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the one thing that I did say I wanted to do. Try to make it quick, not too much longer for this video. Kind of already hitting over 20 minutes recording this, so yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the predictions and all that. So yeah, sorry, I'm still kind of whatever. So got the bracket up right here. So the first game we're going to do, we're not going to kind of do the games that are in order. We're just going to go through each game. So first game we're going to go over Oregon versus James Madison. Honestly, of course, with these group of 5 schools, I kind of want to say this, like, if you don't want to watch these games, that's fine, don't watch them. I'm going to watch them because I'm going to be interested to see if they can put up a fight, or even maybe, yes, pull out the win. But do I think James Madison will? Probably not. So, to go ahead and say that, Oregon will win, and they will move on to face Texas A&M, or Texas Tech, I should say. The next is Alabama versus Oklahoma. Now, I do want to say this. We don't know if Alabama will have a game plan for this, but it will be at Norman at Oklahoma. And really, because Oklahoma's defense was really great against Alabama, they mostly need to work on some stuff against their defense on their offense. But I am going to go with Oklahoma in this one to go on to face Indiana for next round. Next, Ole Miss versus Tulane in this one. Of course, sort of the same thing that I said with James Madison and Oregon. Interested to watch. Of course, there's a rematch as well between these two teams. Which is going to be an interesting rematch to see. Of course, Ole Miss, no Lane Kiffin, but they do have their offensive coordinator back and other stuff as well to potentially help Ole Miss try to move on. And honestly, I do see Ole Miss winning this. Maybe, hopefully, Tulane this time will put up a fight, but we'll see. But I will have Ole Miss winning this and moving on to the second round to face Georgia in an SEC battle in the second round. Now, Miami versus Texas A&M in the final first round matchup. I think this would be a close one because I think Miami has been pretty good this year. Has been back, definitely been sort of an up and down season for them. But Texas A&M, their only loss came against Texas towards the end of the year. Into the regular season, they're 12-1, and I don't think that Miami defense is going to be able to stop Marcel Reed, their quarterback, who is actually announced that he will be coming back for next season. So definitely looking forward to that because he is a really great player. But I actually have Texas A&M winning this, and we'll have a tough matchup against Ohio State in the next match, in the next game, in the next round. So the second round, the matchups that I predict that will happen. First, Oregon versus Texas Tech. This one could be a tough one. I do want to kind of go the route of Oregon, but Texas Tech has been a sort of surprising team to me. I hadn't really watched much of them, and I did watch the Big 12 Championship. They have a really good team, and the defense with Rodriguez guy, that linebacker, who everybody is wanting him for the Heisman, sadly did not make actually become one of the 4 finalists, but he had an amazing year. He's an amazing player. But I honestly, my opinion, I would actually see Texas Tech coming out with this one and moving on to the semifinals. So Texas Tech, I'd have them taking this one. The next matchup I would probably have, or not probably, the next matchup in the second round would be Oklahoma versus Indiana. Even though Oklahoma would probably eke out another win against Alabama, I do not see them winning against Indiana. They have been one of the best teams this year. It is an undefeated season, an amazing season has been for Fernando Mendoza, who is, in my opinion, sort of a favorite of mine to potentially win the Heisman Trophy. But of course, we'll see when that happens. And of course, Indiana winning their first Big Ten title in decades and years. I don't want to say decades, but like in years, it's definitely been for them to be Big Ten champions. So I have them winning this because really, I've kind of said this with Oklahoma. They have a really good defense, but their offense is just not that great. And I just don't know how they're going to be able to play against that tough Indiana defense. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Would look forward to it. But I have Indiana winning and going on to face Texas Tech in the semifinals. So the final 2 second-round matchups. First will be an SEC battle between Ole Miss and Georgia. I think this would be a pretty close one between the two. I'm pretty sure these two faced earlier in the year. I can't remember. I think they have, and I think Ole Miss did lose that game. Georgia, of course, is always definitely one of the best teams, and I definitely do have Georgia probably going on to win this game and going on in the semifinals. This next game, however, Texas A&M Ohio State is a tough one because yes, Ohio State coming off their Big Ten loss, they've been one of the top two teams almost all year, and going up against Texas A&M, which could be a tough battle for them against an SEC school like them. But they did face Texas earlier in the year, but not face Texas A&M. I think it could be a close one, but in my honest opinion, I think Ohio State could pull off a victory and will go on to face Georgia in the semifinals. So the semifinals matchups will, of course, have the three conference champions of Texas Tech, Indiana, and Georgia, along with Ohio State. So mostly, in my opinion, I feel like the four teams that have the first round bye could make the semifinals. So first, Indiana versus Texas Tech. I just want to kind of go ahead and say it. I think Texas Tech would put up a fight, but Indiana, sort of my favorite to go on to win. Now, this one could be interesting because it would be an interesting scenario for the national title. Georgia facing Indiana in an interesting championship that you would probably not believe if you told yourself 10 years ago. Or you could have the Big Ten rematch between Ohio State and Indiana. But I feel like Georgia would come out with the win against Ohio State in the other semifinal matchup, setting up the championship match between Indiana and Georgia. Definitely, I believe this could be a tough one, and I honestly want to have a toss-up with this. Yes, I know as me, an LSU fan and a fan of SEC, Indiana has been really great this year, but they are going to be facing a tough team in Georgia. So I think either way, I think I would be okay with whoever wins. But honestly, I think Georgia with that defense and that well-rounded of a team, even though, yes, Indiana has a well-rounded team as well, I think Georgia, maybe in a close one, Georgia pulls it off and Georgia wins the national championship. So that is, of course, my final predictions for this tournament. I'm sorry, I put pause there. So that's my final predictions for this tournament. All that Georgia came, I would think Georgia would come out with the win and be your new national champions. Of course, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of my predictions, what your guys' predictions are as well. And of course, again, like I said before I did the predictions, let me know your guys' thoughts of everything that I said before I did my predictions earlier in the video. Definitely let me know in the comments down below about everything. Don't want to be too long with this outro, but just, again, let me know all that stuff in the comments down below. Y'all's thoughts. Definitely have potentially lost my voice, kind of almost out of breath almost all the time throughout this video. So, but again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys made it all the way through. If you guys did, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And with all that out of the way, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't know why I did that. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. Would definitely appreciate it. And all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.